Hi guys, this is Rusty78609, just leaving the grocery store where I got me some pork tenderloin and some taters. I'm going to fix me some more stuff in my Instapot, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to touch on is, and I may not even publish this video because I'm just thinking about it, is there's a lot of information related to RVing, and it's hard to get it to the right audience because the people that you want to get to are the ones that really haven't made all the mistakes yet and are looking for ways to avoid them. And that is that group of people that either is right at the retirement age, or I guess I better go another way, huh? Because, well, no, now I can go this way. Okay. Anyway, so those people that are just starting to look at RVing as a way of life, maybe they are just retiring, contemplating retiring, living in a home where their expenses are too high, and they want to move to a situation that they can afford, and they think RVing is that solution. And so what I've done is I've just created this fictitious family, and it's going to be called Dick and Jane. See, I can remember that. Remember the first grade reading book, Dick and Jane, See Spot Run? Well, you're going to love this. Yeah, of course, Dick will be the husband, Jane will be the wife, and then the dogs will be named Spot and Pinky. Okay, they got to have two dogs because most people at RV today do have pets of some kind, either cats or dogs, usually dogs, and usually more than one. And then the author, me, will every now and then inject my thoughts. In other words, we'll have this imaginary conversation, or they will, as I'm driving down the road, and we'll test it this morning and see how it goes. But it won't be every day. It'll just be every now and then when I'm doing a driving video, rather than just driving down the highway and talking about stuff that y'all have heard 7,000 times. I thought I'd add a little flavor by just kind of reminiscing about what goes on whenever you start the process of acquiring an RV and living the RV way of life, whether it's boondocking or van camping or car dwelling. It doesn't really matter. A lot of the things I'll talk about will apply equally to all those situations. Some of them will be specifically for travel trailers. Some will be specifically maybe for motorhomes. I don't know much about motorhomes, so it's probably more about travel trailers. But having said that, the first thing that the individuals Dick and Jane are going to run into is at some point, as they near retirement or have retired. Now we're going to assume that this couple is in the RVing mode. In other words, they have briefly discussed it in their home environment that, maybe RVing might be a way of life that we would enjoy, and the conversation would go something like this. Dick would say, Jane, I've been thinking about it lately and always wanted to go traveling. Both of us have worked hard all our lives. We've worked for 35 years, and we've got a nice income, not a great income, but enough to live on and have an RV as a hobby. And then if at some point we like the RV way of life, we could adopt it full time and reduce our expenses, possibly by living full time in an RV and not having to pay property taxes and home maintenance and so forth. So that's something we need to discuss. And the first thing we need to discuss is, what type of RV do we need or want? Me, the husband, Dick, I would like to get a small travel trailer, say 24-foot travel trailer, because I feel like that would be all we would need. It would have a bed, a kitchen, and a full bath, and that would be adequate. And Jane chimes in and says, if you expect me to live in a tiny mobile home or RV, whatever you want to call it, well, then it's going to have some space, because we've got two dogs, you and I want a nice kitchen. I don't want to be cramped in one little corner preparing food. And also we've got two children, even though they're grown and gone. We have grandchildren, and they may want to come visit us while we're on the road somewhere. So, we're going to have space for them and the dogs and so forth. And so let's go look at RVs. So they jump in the car and away they go. Now, Arthur's note here, you can see there's a big difference between what Daddy wants, or the husband, and what Mama wants. In other words, she sees RVing as moving her home or nest down the highway, and at any time, if the children or grandchildren want to come visit or travel with them, they'll have adequate space for that. Daddy, on the other hand, is thinking about towing this thing down the highway. He's really not too excited about having to buy a diesel dually to pull a 38-foot travel trailer. Anyway, they go shopping. They go to an RV show, and they see all types of RVs, and they do agree finally that motorhomes are nice. They're a little pricey. Fifth wheels are nice, but some of them are so large that it's ridiculous. And so they finally settle on a 36-foot travel trailer with 3 pop-outs. Okay, 3 slide-outs. Why did they get 3 slide-outs? Because that's what Jane wanted, and she was not going to have it any other way. Dick, the husband, on the other hand, just wants to go traveling, so he's willing to, that's fine with me if that's what you want. I mean, I can hear him saying it. If that's what you want and that makes you happy, that's fine. Because Jane, in her mind, she sees everything in proper order. They've got a nice king-size bed that she can walk around and make the bed. She also sees a kitchen it's a slide-out that gives her a nice, roomy kitchen with a view. And they also, of course, have a nice slide for the living room or dining area, where they've got plenty of room when the children and the grandchildren come to visit. And the dogs, wonderfully enough, since there's bunk beds in this monster, they each have a bunk bed of their own, because Spot is a Great Dane, okay, and Pinky is a Pomeranian. So the Pinky gets the lower bunk and the monster gets the top bunk, and they'll figure out a way to get that dog up there somehow. But that's not unusual, folks. I mean, this is a slight exaggeration. That's Arthur's note here. So anyway, what you end up with, here's a husband that has probably never driven anything in his life larger than an SUV. Never towed anything in his entire life. Okay? And now he has gone out and bought him a brand new diesel dually to tow a 36-foot travel trailer with 3 pop-outs. Who knows what the dry weight is on it? But anyway, his diesel dually will tow it adequately. He also got 4-wheel drive just in case, which is totally not needed, but it probably came with it anyway. So we're looking at an initial investment for Dick and Jane with the truck and the RV of slightly over $100,000 minimum. Now here's the way it works too. Dick and Jane go to the RV show and subsequently to a couple of RV dealerships, and they finally narrow the selection down to one particular unit. The unit cost $40,000. It's on sale for $39,995. Special one-time sale, $39,995. But because Dick is proud of his ability to bargain, and he does a lot of bargaining back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and he finally gets them down to $37,995, a whopping $2,000 discount. Arthur's note: for those of you that are buying travel trailers, motorhomes, or whatever, realize that there's at least, and when I say at least, I mean at least, a 25% markup. So if that RV lists or is, quote, on sale for $39,995, rest assured that if you told them that you're not going to buy it for anything more than $28,500, they'll probably take it, okay? Because there's a huge markup in it, huge. But having said that, Dick, the husband, thinks he got a great deal. They buy the RV. Now, go to the dealership to pick up the RV. The dealer, of course, does the walk around, shows them how everything on the inside operates. You know, the wife is kind of listening, sort of, you know, like, yeah. You know, everybody knows how to open a refrigerator. Everybody knows how to turn on a faucet. Everybody knows how to work a shower. So she's kind of daydreaming about how she's going to decorate the RV, and the husband's kind of halfway listening because his thoughts are, you know, the inside work, that's the wife's job. So, you know, when they get to the outside, I'll kind of listen a little more closely. So anyway, they both kind of halfway listen to what the salesman tells them about how to operate the hot water heater, the refrigerator, and all the different stuff, and the monitor for the the monitor for the black water, gray water, and so forth, and and how to operate the air conditioning and so forth. You know, they just kind of breeze through that, and then he picks up a whole sack full of warranties and just kind of briefly says, now here's the warranties for all the products in the RV. What he doesn't explain is the dealership, this is the Arthur's caveat here, the dealership does not warrant anything. Every product in that RV is warranted, has a warranty covering it, like the Dometic refrigerator, Vent-A-Hood, hot water heater, air conditioner, whatever you have inside of there is not warranted by the RV dealership. Totally separate. And they may last anywhere from 1 year to 2 years. Most of them are 1 year. So, Dick and Jane have now got through the dealer prep routine on the inside, and then they go to the outside. And here Daddy kind of pays a little bit more attention because they show him how to hook up the hitch, okay? And he's got a weight distribution hitch with a sway bar, and he doesn't really understand what that means. He just knows that somehow he's got to hook it up every time they go somewhere and then unhook it whenever they set up. And he's watching to figure out how all that's done. Well, the dealer or the service tech has done this about 6,000 times, so he just kind of goes through it in about 2 minutes and assumes, and assumption is the mother of all mistakes, that Dick has absorbed every single thing he has said. Now, of course, Dick and Jane are not idiots. They have watched YouTube videos about RVing and are fairly confident that they've got it nailed, that there's not that much to it. So, they get hooked up. The service tech shows them, how the tanks work. You pull this valve and do this and close them and open them, and here's how you hook up your drain hose, etc., etc., etc. And so they're pretty satisfied. They got it. We're good. So they shake hands with the salesman, and away they go with their $100,000 plus operation. And as they're driving down the highway, Dick says, this is not bad at all. Jane says, I really love this RV. The kitchen's wonderful. It's going to be really fun to decorate. I've already got some ideas on floor covering and stuff, because she wants to get some little rugs and stuff to put on the wall and all this stuff. And the husband's thinking, hooking it up wasn't that bad. And he says to her, he says to his wife, Jane, I really feel like this is going to work out really well. I mean, I'm looking forward to our first trip starting next week. They're planning on taking a 1 month trip in their RV, and they're going to stay primarily at RV parks where there's full hookups, which is wonderful. So anyway, that's kind of the Arthur's note. That's kind of the way the conversation goes, and that's kind of how people get in to RVing, is pretty much what I've said. Each person, if it's a man and a wife, is viewing RVing from their perspective, and never the twain shall meet. The wife is seeing Little House on the Prairie decorated on the inside. She's probably going to get some plants. The husband is seeing himself bulleting, or really racing down the highway on the interstate, pulling his trailer easily with his diesel dually and watching all the cute little gauges that he's got that monitor everything except the temperature of his feet. and there may be something for that. But he got everything, and he's ready to go. He's even got a laser monitor so that he can point it at the axles, and it'll tell him the temperature of the axles. And as far as leveling the RV when they arrive at a site, that he's got that down to a science. He's got every type of bubble level that you can buy. There's bubble levels on the front, bubble levels on the back, bubble levels on the side, bubble levels on the inside. He's got the jacks here, jacks there. He's got every power tool you can imagine. And that damn RV is going to be level for sure. So that's in his mind, in her mind, a total different picture. And this will end session 1. Dick and Jane Rhodes, we're going to call them Rhodes, R-O-A-D-S, because that's an easy name for me to remember. But Dick and Jane, in this session, have gone through the process and have just acquired their first RV, a travel trailer, and I hope I can remember, a 36-foot bumper pull travel trailer with 3 slide outs, towed with a diesel dually, and away they are going. And in chapter 2, or I guess we'll call it chapter 2 for ease of memory, we will talk about their first adventure. And then we'll go on and on and on, day after day. It won't be a daily series at all. It'll just be whenever I'm out driving. If I think about it, we'll talk about Dick and Jane and the Great Dane Spot and the Pomeranian Pinky. Now, will I remember that Spot is a Great Dane? Probably not. Will I remember that Pinky is a Pomeranian? Probably not. The only reason I said Pomeranian is that's the first dog that came into my mind. Arthur's note here. Remember that dogs don't really care about sleeping on beds. Beds are for humans. Dogs are not humans. They're probably just as comfortable sleeping on the floor somewhere. And as far as the kids and the grandkids coming to visit, we'll talk a little bit more about that later, and I'll tell you about my own experience. So having said that, guys, from Central Texas, USA, this has been the first in a sort of a series of RVing with Dick and Jane. Thumbs up, guys. Adios, carpe diem. Bye-bye. Buy anything your little heart desires, but if you think about it, use the link to Amazon products in the description of my videos. Why? Because I get a little commission. It doesn't cost you a penny. Also, drink plenty of water. 3 or 4 quarts a day won't hurt you. It's good for you. It'll help you avoid gout, kidney stones, and it'll also help you lose weight because you'll be full and you won't want to snack. What else? Take deep breaths. Breathe in deep, hold it for a second or 2, and then breathe out slowly because that relieves stress, and relieving stress lowers your blood pressure. And is that good for you? You bet it is. And what else? Stretch, 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 walk, walk, walk. Do that every day. Keep your body in motion. What else? Stand guard at the door of your mind. Don't let negative Nancy or negative Ned get inside of your head. It's your head, you know, and it's your brain. So, you know, accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. Adios, amigos. Until next time, bye-bye.